Yeah, yeah. Don't rush me. Now, when I ask you to do something your mother has warned you about, I want you to do two things at once. Well, I'm going to see my father. Won't you let me ride? I'm going to see my father. Let me ride. Well, I'm going to see my father. Won't you let me ride? Slow down and let me ride. Well, slow down, child, and let me ride. Slow down, chariot, let me ride. Whoa, slow down, chariot, and let me ride. Slow down and let me ride. 'Cause my feet are weary, won't you let me ride? Yes, my feet are weary, won't you let me ride? Yes, my feet are weary, won't you let me ride? Slow down and let me ride. Yes, slow down, chariot, let me ride. Oh, slow down, chariot, let me ride. When I hit a classroom, I will say, nobody likes to be told what to do, number one. Number two, any highly evolved being will resist capricious authority, and then we'll talk about capricious if we have to. The person who controls the questions controls your education. So if you want to take the reins of your own learning, you have to generate questions that you want the answers to. Things that you find interesting. And any fact should generate a bunch of questions. Asking questions, deciding, collecting data, and then positing what's going on. These are skills we really want kids to have. And the tool I use for that is a tuning fork. Now, sound is made up of vibrations. Right. You need a source of vibrations. Right. You can prove this to yourself by putting your hand on your throat and humming. You can feel the source of vibrations are your vocal cords banging into each other as the air passes through them. And the closer they are to one another, the higher the note is, the farther apart they are, the lower the note. So it's muscular. They just bang together. So we need a source of vibrations. Our source of vibrations now is going to be this. Okay? This is a tuning fork. And tons of vibrations. Anybody hearing a sound? So questions, time for questions.
Feels like C.
It is a C. You can hear it. Everybody jumping. So we have lots of vibrations. We don't have a sound. Now, if I put this near your ear, you'll hear a sound. That's a good question. Is it vibrating too fast? No, faster vibrations just make a higher note.
Is it too high for our ears?
Now, there is a range of hearing. Elephants can hear sounds we don't hear. And dogs can too. Elephants hear lower sounds. Dogs hear higher sounds. Don't move your head so I don't bang anybody. So, what's going on? Why? What's going on? Well, how do sound waves work? Just like waves in the ocean, the energy goes, but the water doesn't go. And in the same way, we have a source of vibrations here, but we don't have a big sound wave. We'll do some experimenting. What's going on?
Sound waves bumping up against something.
What is happening? Put your hands on the table. What do you feel? With your hands on the table. You feel the table move, even with all this stuff on it. Right? This source is causing the table to move. This is a movement of mechanical energy. So this is moving. We have a source of vibrations. We don't get a real sound wave until we get something moving more air. We need a surface. Now, if I just had a string, a guitar string with no resonating, or I had the diddly bow without the box, and pluck the string and go, you wouldn't hear a thing. Just like this. We have a source of vibrations, but we don't really have much sound because it's not being amplified. So let's check around the room and see what are good amplifiers. Let's try a... Ask yourself why. Ask yourself why. Okay, ideas? Density. We have vibrations. In order to create a sound wave, we need to move something else. The table moves when we heard a sound. And we need surface area because it's in contact with a lot of air molecules. So again, we have a source of vibrations. The surface area touches a lot of air molecules and moves them all. And then that energy gets transferred from molecule to molecule. It's important to note that when you create a sound, you're not firing air molecules towards somebody's ear like a bullet through the air. The energy's moving and shoving the air molecule next to it. You can do it with dominoes. Line up dominoes, click one, the dominoes didn't go anywhere, the energy went somewhere. This went somewhere. Well, this is our source of energy. And then we need to find something that will be a good resonator. Now, we need to be able to move to create vibration. We need, when the mechanical energy of this gets to whatever it's in contact with, that thing has to move. So we need something that's movable, which is why the concrete wall did not work. Would glass, now let's predict.
Glass, yeah, see glass.
Would glass be good?
Yeah.
Okay, listen. So if I was going to send you home to find a resonator, what would you be looking for? What characteristics would you be looking for? Here's one more thing to do. If it was 100 degrees in here, and thank God it's not, and you were going to fan yourself, and I gave you a fan that looked like this, or like this, 4 fingers apart, spread your fingers apart. Okay, now fan yourself like it's really hot, just like. Is this effective? Fingers wide apart. Fingers wide apart. Now, put your fingers together like you're a swimmer, like a paddle, and do that. Do it.
More better.
Now, what do we got? We got more surface area. Surface area. So we need to move air. When you make your voice louder, you push more air through your throat. You know, ah and ah are only separated by how much air is moving, how fast. So we need to move more air to create a louder sound, and we need something that can actually vibrate to do that. Now, we know that too much mass runs against us. So you're looking for something that is easy to move, that's portable, and it won't absorb vibrations, because my shirt has a lot of surface area, but you know, cup your hand and put it over your ear like you were listening to the phone. Right? Good. Phone. Cup it over your ear. Oh, like that. Like this. Like that. Yeah, like a speaker.
Oh, wow.
Your bones are conducting the vibrations. Now this is how they used to check for broken bones. Yeah, before X-rays, this is how you check for a broken bone. You listen to one end of the bone, you put the tuning fork on the other. And the sound doesn't cross the break, you know, we need a split.
What about young and old bones? Do they sound different?
I don't know the answer to that. But it's a good question, isn't it? We like the good question.
I have a question.
Yeah, good.
Since bones are porous, so you would be looking for a surface that is porous for the sound?
It's an interesting question. I think the porosity of the bone, which it's there to make us lighter. And like wing bones are hollow in birds and stuff. So it's about reducing weight. If our bones were solid, we wouldn't be dragging around. And it also needs, so part of it's this crystalline structure. But I think what's moving causing the vibrations to move is the stiffness of it, rather than it being soft. Because I could put this on your muscles, and you wouldn't hear a thing. The hardness of the bone is there. So hardness, mass, and again, the mass of the bone is lighter because it's porous, so we can move it. And surface area are key. And your hand becomes the surface area. Yeah.
What if you did this in the space station? Would it make any difference that there's no gravity?
Gravity wouldn't make a difference, but an airless atmosphere, I mean, what they say about deep space is there is no sound. Because there aren't any air molecules hanging out there. Now, in the space station, there's air. They're creating it.
So it would be the same?
It would be the same. In the space station, it would be the same. Outside the space station, it would be entirely silent. Because you have these vibrations, but the vacuum of space is such that there's nothing for it to move. And again, we need a molecule next to this to bang into the one next to it. We have an atmosphere that's dense enough for this to work. But in space, apparently it's not. I caution you to get a small block of wood if you teach a class with a tuning fork, because eventually you will bruise whatever body part you're banging. I have limped out of classrooms after 5 classes after doing this for, why did I do this? But okay, but what about the speaker, which is designed specifically to do this? Can I get to it? If you train children to ask interesting questions, they will start asking them. And it does 2 things. It makes your classroom harder to handle. And it opens up the educational process to their interests, not just yours, or, God forbid, just the standardized test, which we all have to suffer.